Good morning, everyone. Today we're going to take a look at the question, how can we record video and audio on our computer? That's part of our week 3 learning objective, right? This week we're trying to design and record that annotated presentation. And today we're going to go over the details of how to present, record, and then post that presentation. Okay, before we get into the actual recording and the technologies behind that, I wanted to talk a little bit about accessories. Some things are required if you're going to be recording, while others are just nice to have. But you definitely should consider these if you're going to be recording regularly or recording for your class or anything like that. So let's take a look. First off, a microphone. Investing in a quality microphone is a great idea if you're going to be recording, because just cleaning up that audio quality really helps eliminate those distractions for the viewer, right? If we have really poor mic quality, we're just creating extraneous load. We're creating distractions for our viewer, something we don't want to do, right? We want to have a good quality microphone, and there are options where we can set up filters and such to eliminate outside noises and extra things we don't want in there as well. We'll look a little bit at that today. We also want a good camera, right? If you're going to be recording yourself as a speaker, obviously you want some sort of camera. Most people will have some sort of microphone and camera already these days since we Zoom so frequently in today's day and age. But if you're going to be recording regularly, you might want to invest in upgrades of both of these. Okay, so just something to think about there. As far as the optional gear, lighting is a great option. Okay, depending on where you're filming, you might get shadows on different parts of your face from your computer screen or the overhead lights. I have a little light here that provides a little more light, so we're not getting as bad shadows under the eyes and things like that. And then the last optional thing is a green screen. If you're considering putting yourself into the video and you don't want to worry about a messy background or distractions in that background, things like books or posters on the wall, anything that your learner might zone out and check out. If we want to eliminate that, we need a green screen. Okay, I use a green screen. You obviously can't see it, but we'll talk a little bit today about it and how to implement it. And yeah, so let's take a look at some screen recording software next. Now, the screen recorder I recommend is one that I've been using for years. It is a free software since it's open source, but it's called Open Broadcaster Software, or OBS. I've had really great success with it. It allows you to add a lot of filters in and tweak different aspects of your recording. Obviously, you don't have to use OBS for this class. You're free to use any screen recording software you like. We talked yesterday about how PowerPoint has one built in that you might want to try out. And there's also all sorts of other screen recorders out there. But the one I know personally is OBS. So that's the one I'm going to teach with today. Since it's free, anyone is able to download this and try it out. Okay, you just go to obsproject.com. Again, that's obsproject.com, or you can just search for OBS. And then just click on your computer type here. If you're Windows, you can click that Windows button and the download will start immediately there. Okay, so go ahead. You can stop the video here if you want to follow along and download that, but I'm going to walk you through kind of how OBS works and how to set it up so that you guys can start recording. Okay, so here's the OBS loadout. Here's what it looks like when you open the program and you have everything set up. I apologize for the infinite windows here. I smartly tried to record things by turning off my display capture, and you can see everything disappears. So I had some video with no visuals that I had to delete and re-record here. So sorry about that, but let's just pay attention to the bottom tabs here, because this is what we're really going to be talking about. That middle screen is just kind of shows us what we're recording. So there's a couple different options here at the bottom. There's a scenes tab, sources, audio mixer, scene transitions, and controls. First, let's talk about scenes. This is essentially the different recording profiles that OBS has saved. So if you don't have one when you first start, you can just hit the plus, add in a name of that scene. But this will just save your different loadouts for the different sources you're recording and your audio mixer and your settings and that sort of thing. So scenes, not super important for what we're going to do. I usually just have one that has kind of my default loadout here. But if you want different recording settings, scenes is how you would do that. Next up, we have sources. This is where we add in the different sources of our recordings. Okay, as instructional designers, we really care about 3 of these, in my opinion, and that is the audio input capture. Okay, that allows us to add our microphones. Okay, we need a way to capture our screen, which I use the display capture, which captures my entire screen. But there's also other options like you can capture just a window, a specific game, a slideshow, and a media source, that sort of thing. But the display capture is a nice catch-all. That way, if you're switching from PowerPoint to talking about a PDF to talking about a web page, display capture will capture all of that. So that's what I would recommend, but there are some other options there if you'd like as well. And then the final one that I think is important is the video capture device. This allows us to capture our webcam if we'd like to put our face in the video. That'll be optional for this week's project. Okay, I know some people don't like recording their face. That's fine. I'm not going to force you to, but if you'd like to, I'm going to show you how to do it. Okay, so that is our sources tab here. When we go to add sources, okay, this will be one of the first things you do when you get set up, is we'll add a scene if we need one, and then we'll start adding our sources. We just hit the plus key. We click on the source we want to add. If we want to add our microphone, we'll click audio input capture. We can hit create new and OK, and then we have a drop down here. We can pick our microphone. Okay, so you would pick that. I'm going to hit cancel here since we already have one set up. And hopefully I'm not throwing off our audio here. Okay, and once you have it set up, you should have another bar in your audio mixer for your microphone. If your mic is set up properly, when you're speaking, you should be in this yellow range, is what I've learned on the internet, right? Hitting that yellow range is a pretty good audio. There are some ways that you can tweak it if you're not hitting that spot. I'm going to recommend a video in our Extend Your Learning this week that shows you how to set up that microphone. If we right click and hit filters, okay, you can see there are a range of different filters we can add to help our microphone here. So for me, I found that video that I'm going to link you a couple weeks ago. You might have noticed there was a change in audio quality on our lesson videos. This is why. Okay, I added filters for a noise suppression, an expander, a compressor, and a limiter. And basically what these do is if I'm talking too loud, they quiet me down. And if I'm talking too quiet, they make you louder so that you're always kind of in that yellow range. But that's some options we have with OBS, is we can add in those filters after the fact and make our equipment work better. So this is one of the reasons I really like OBS. Gives you lots of options here. But once again, I'll link a video at the end in our module this week on how to set these up if that's something you're interested in. After we add our audio input, we can add our display capture. We can name it whatever you like there. And what the display capture does is you can select which monitor you would like to record. Okay, so in my case, I have my primary monitor that I like to record on, and then my secondary monitor that I usually keep OBS on, and maybe some folders full of materials that I need and that sort of thing. Okay, but that's how we set up that. I'm going to go ahead and remove that so we're not messing with the video too much. Once again, with our display capture, there are different filters you can add if you like. Okay, all sorts of things there. For what I use OBS for, I tend to not add any filters on the display because most of the time I'm recording PowerPoints and PDFs and things that are relatively easy to record that I don't need to clean up much at all. Okay, and the last source I would recommend adding is the video capture device if you want to record yourself. We can click OK there. And then once again, you can select your device and they give us some different options on how to configure things. All right. So those are the three sources I would recommend setting up. Once you have them set up, OBS is really easy. You can just click on the screen to move things around. If you click on the arrows, you can make things bigger or smaller. You can also hold Shift when you're resizing these windows, and if you want to make them non-proportional. Okay, so we can do some weird stuff, stretch me out, that sort of thing. Okay, let's put me back there. Yeah, and you can do other things too. If you want to set up capture of multiple windows, that's absolutely something you can do, or you can record yourself on the side, right? OBS gives you lots of different options. It's a really cool technology. It's really good for streaming as well as recording if that's something you're into. But most of the time I just use it to record. Try to get all set up there. I think we're good. Most of the time I just use it to record just basic videos. So what else do we want to talk about here? We talked about sources and how to add them. Once they're added, we should have a couple different options in the audio mixer tab. Okay, you should have desktop audio as I believe a preset. And then since we added our microphone, your microphone should appear there. We can add in some filters to clean this up if we are too quiet or too loud. And what I like to do with desktop audio is just mute it entirely. That way, if you get an email, you get a message from someone, right? Your computer pings, you're not passing that on to your learners, right? We're not passing on that distracting email noise and making our learners think that they're getting an email, right? Things like that. So I like to keep it muted. You can turn the desktop audio on if you're recording things with audio, right? Maybe you're watching a video and you're talking about it with your students. In that case, you would want this on and at a reasonable level. But for most general purposes, I think it's okay to mute the desktop audio. Scene transitions. If you want to swap from scene to scene and have them fade in or out or start cut, that sort of thing, you get some transition options here. I don't really use that at all. And then the control tab at the end. I will recommend one more thing when you're working in OBS, and that is if we go to settings here, I would recommend you add a hotkey. Okay, I think this makes my life a lot easier. There's all sorts of great settings we can edit in OBS, but the number one thing I would like you to do if you're trying this out, add a hotkey for start recording and stop recording. Okay, this will make your life a lot easier. This will allow you to start recording something while you're full screen in another app. Okay, so if we're full screen in PowerPoint, I don't want to have to click on the control box in OBS. I just want to start recording from that screen. So that's why I like having that hotkey. I just use the star key that's on the numpad. And then if I mess up, if I say too many times, right, I hit stop recording and you can start again. And honestly, I think this is probably one of the biggest advantages distance learning has, is if I try to teach something and I do a terrible job, I can try again. Okay, you don't get feedback from your students like real life learning. There's no check for understanding as you're recording. But if you know it sucks, you can always stop and start over. So I really like this key. It allows me to kind of record in chunks too. So that way you're not recording this big long thing. We're recording 5-10 minute segments. That way if we have to re-record, we're just fixing 5 to 10 minutes at a time. We're not fixing the entire video and having to go in and make these edits and cuts and that sort of thing. But that's something I would really recommend there. Setting that hotkey. And then once you have your video, okay, once you've set all this up, you've used your hotkey, you've recorded a video, it will go into a recordings folder. And if you hit File, Show Recordings, that is the easiest way to bring that folder up. Let me grab that folder there. And you can see we have a couple different files for today's video. What I like to do is I'll record as I go. And then when I like a clip, I will put a number there. Okay, so you can see I tried twice on the intro and didn't like it. So then the third time was the charm. So I named that number 1. Tried a couple different times for clip 2 before I found one that I liked, and that's clip 2. Okay, so this is how I like to operate. If there's something I like to cut at the end, okay, maybe I had a good clip and then you get tongue-tied at the end or you lose your train of thought, right? I just put a C at the end, which means for a cut. So I want to cut the end of that, clean it up a little bit. But this is how I like to record, is I'll just record chunks at a time, have them all in this folder, and then at the end, I edit them all together. Okay, and we'll talk about that next week. Today, I just want you to get this set up to be able to record like a 1 to 2 minute video. Let's see, anything else we need to talk about in OBS? I think that's the main things there. This is a really powerful program, really great. I've used it for, I think, 5 or 6 years now. Never really had any issues. It's just consistently worked. So I would recommend it. But obviously, if you prefer another screen recorder that you're more comfortable with, or there's one that comes maybe with your computer that you know how to use, or you're really good with the PowerPoint one already, that's fine. Feel free to use those, but I'm just giving you a tool if you don't have one and showing you kind of how it works. So that, I think, is everything. Did we talk about green screens? I'm not sure if we talked about the green screen, so I will show that on our webcam. So the last thing I'll talk about here, on webcam, if we go to filters, we can add in our green screen using a chroma key. Okay, this will be a link as well to extend your learning. So if you want to learn how to set up that green screen, it's as simple as adding one filter and then kind of setting up how much green it pulls out of the environment. Okay, so I have a green screen behind me. I've set up this chroma key to pull out, okay, this amount of green and to smooth it over a little bit and that sort of thing. Okay, so you can tweak these different settings. I'll link you to a video that shows you how to do that, how to walk through that. But green screens are really useful, especially if you want to put your video on top of content directly. You just got to be careful about what shirt you wear. I was trying to wear a blue shirt today to start and realized that this chroma key was picking out little spots of it, and my shirt looked like it had little spots of dust all over it. So you got to be a little careful with that, but a really useful tool there. Okay, so that is OBS in a nutshell. Okay, so now we've learned how to record a video, how to go to that show recordings folder and find that video. Now what? Now what do we do with it? How do we get it to our students? Okay, uploading to your LMS directly is an option. Okay, we can put videos into Web Canvas. The problem there is videos are quite large, so you're looking at a lot of time and a lot of file storage to host those. So personally, what I like to do is use YouTube. Students are familiar with YouTube. They're comfortable with how it works. So to me, it's a no-brainer. It's very easy to post videos. YouTube stores them for you, so you don't have to worry about the storage issues. And your students know how to navigate it. They know how to pause a video. They know how to rewind. They know how to slow it down. So I really like using YouTube to host my videos. I'm going to show you how to do that. Okay, you do have to set up an account. But once you have that account set up, I'll kind of walk you through that process from there. So we'll set up our account. Once you get your account, you can view your channel or go to YouTube Studio. And you can see your channel in action here. Now there's a couple different ways to post a video. I can click the Content tab on the left and add a video that way, or in the top right. Let's see, my picture might be in the way here. Let's do How about this? There we go. Okay. Hopefully you guys can see now. So in the top right, next to my account picture, okay, you can see there's a little create button. So what we can do if we want to create a video is we can just click on that button and click on upload video. Okay, in this case, why don't we grab our recording folder here. We can pick any video once it's done. Okay, maybe I'm going to grab this OBS video I just recorded and I can copy that. Okay, you can just drag and drop. And then uploading a video is that simple. We just have to enter a title. Okay. YouTube, you can enter a description as well if you'd like, or put on a playlist. YouTube will ask you if it's made for kids. This is a question that's mandatory, so you have to answer no or yes. Okay. If it is a yes, then there's extra hoops you got to jump through. And they give you options like uploading thumbnails and that sort of thing. But requirements are a title. Clicking no, it's not made for kids. Then I can hit yes. If we want to add in different video elements, that's an option, but that is optional. Same with checks. And then with visibility here, we can set our video to private, unlisted, or public. Okay, I use public videos, which means anyone can watch them. This is good if you want to build your portfolio, right? If you're trying to get a job with your YouTube channel eventually, then you want to set things as public. That way you can link your channel and people can see the work you've done. If you're a little uncomfortable with anyone being able to see your work, then you can set them as private or unlisted. Okay, private allows you to share the videos with specific people. And unlisted just means anyone with that link can watch the video. Okay, so if you're uncomfortable with a public video, just use unlisted for our assignment this week. Then the only people that can check it out are people with the direct link. So you can use unlisted videos for your course as well, where the public won't be able to see it, but anyone with that link can, so your students should be able to access it just fine, even if it's unlisted. Let's see, anything else? So once we have all that done, we can hit save. Okay, it'll tell us our video is published. We can click on content to go see it, as well as all of our other videos here. And then once you post a video to YouTube, okay, it has to upload the standard definition quality and then the high definition quality. So you can see these are both already complete, which is pretty good. Sometimes that'll take a little while. But once that's done, you can go to the link and you can watch your video live in action. First, let's talk about. Okay, so that one works there. And to copy the link, we can click on that copy. And then there's all sorts of options, right, if we want to tweak things there. But that's how you upload a video to YouTube. I've been doing this for a long time. It's great for students, especially on things like review videos, because they can access them on their phone, and YouTube works really well on phones. So it's really easy way to get portable videos out to your students that they can use with these different tools. So I definitely recommend it. But yeah, that's how you upload to YouTube. All right, so that's all the things I wanted to show you today. Hopefully that's enough for you to download OBS and start recording and creating these voiceover presentations. As far as remaining tasks, okay, there was no reading today since today is more of a technology day. To extend your learning, we talked about these already, but if you want to add those microphone filters, there's a video for that. And if you want to set up your green screen, there's a video for that. Okay, so if you're interested in OBS, you like those filters, you want to add them to your setup, check out those videos. Once again, no quiz today since today's more of a tech day. And then our assignment, we're going to be wrapping up our Project 2 presentation. Today, your job is to record yourself presenting some of that information, to post that to YouTube, and then submit that link, okay? So we're going to take a look at that presentation here in a second. So here's our Project 2 write-up that you'll see at the end of our module today. Okay, part 3 of this project, right? You should have been working on parts 1 and 2 already, but part 3, we're going to be recording yourself. And I just want 1 to 2 minutes of you presenting some of that content. Okay, you can present the middle of the content, you can present your intro, but really I just want to make sure you guys can record both your screen and your audio. Okay, so we're recording our presentation and the voiceover. Those are the components I'm looking for. If you want to add in the webcam, that's great, but that's not going to be required. So you're going to do that. You're going to record 1 to 2 minutes. We're going to post it to YouTube, or another video sharing site is fine as well. I just want you guys to be able to share your video as a link. And then we have a checklist below that kind of talks about the different parts of the project, since I know there's a couple different ones this week. So we were going through the ADDIE process. I know I didn't talk about it a whole lot, but we are going through that ADDIE model as we are creating this presentation, right? We started with the analysis phase, where I asked you guys to fill out some questions on things like needs assessment, goal setting, learner analysis, objectives, and so on. Okay, so when you're submitting Project 2, just submit a little document with those questions for the analysis phase. For the design phase, I'd like to see your storyboard. Okay, so we're submitting that storyboard. That might be a PowerPoint file. If you printed your PowerPoint and made it into the boxes into a Word document, that's fine too. But however you did that storyboard, submit that storyboard as proof of our design phase of the project. In the development phase, we actually build our materials. So you built your presentation materials in one of those presentation softwares. Okay, so just submit that file for our developmental phase. And then finally, the implementation phase of ADDIE, right, is when we're actually recording that video. So submit a link of that video recording. It should have that recording of the PowerPoint or the presentation, and it should also have that voice over audio. That's what I'm looking for that video, okay? And the idea here is we're gonna submit these in a discussion post next week. We're going to give each other feedback, and that will be the evaluation part of our ADDIE model, right? So that 5th step. So hopefully that makes sense. Okay, those are the different parts to Project 2. I want to see these questions in the analysis section. I want to see a storyboard in our design section. I need to see your presentation materials for the development section. And then a video recording with voiceover audio for our implementation section. Okay, so this is what we're working on today, as well as the weekend. Remember, everything's due end of the day Monday, so if you need Monday to wrap things up, that's fine. Please email me or write me on Canvas if you have any questions at all. You guys have been doing a great job so far. I think I had one question on Project 2 so far, but hopefully this helps address it. This should clear that up, I believe. But yeah, guys, have a great weekend, and I'll see you Monday.